So this abuse negatively impacts the child's normal development trajectory in childhood, which means that the effects usually have dire consequences for them as well-functioning adults.
Okay.
If we look at literature, the first South African study to look at the incidence and prevalence of maltreatment in South Africa was conducted in 2016 by the Optimus Foundation, and they found that the prevalence was really high. In fact, South Africa was one of the highest prevalence rates across the world, and in fact 1 in 4 children have experienced some form of child abuse or child maltreatment before the age of 17 years. So these consequences, if you think about them in the short term and the long term, they affect the child in terms of their development now, but they also have consequences on their reciprocal interactions with others and with peers in terms of the environment, how they see themselves in terms of the messages they receive from the environment. And so the impact is not just on them, it's also on the family, on the school system, on the community, and even the impact extends as far as to be devastating for society as a whole because of the cost of taking care of these victims, as well as them not contributing to a productive society. If you think about consequences, a good way to remember it is to think of ABCs. So A, B, C apostrophe S. And it's a good way to break it down. So A represents affect, which is your emotion or your feeling. When children are abused, obviously they experience a lot of guilt, a lot of self-blame. This leads to negative emotions, negative experiences about themselves. And this can often lead to anxiety, to depression, to having suicidal thoughts, and most importantly, to not developing a connection with others. So therefore, they lack the ability to empathize with themselves and with others. And overall, this causes emotional dysregulation, which is really a negative thing in adulthood because you become allergic to stress.